All right, everybody. With me on the line, she is out of Northern California, currently residing in Nashville, Tennessee. Ashley Barron, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Singer-songwriter, huh? How long you been doing this for?
Yeah, I have been in music for about 10 years. But I've been in Nashville for 7.
Yeah. Well, let's just dive into it. What made you want to start, getting songs done, songs produced and everything? What made you get into the business?
Yeah, I had a really amazing voice coach in high school that wanted to get back into recording music, writing music, and all that. And so he asked me when I was going to college if I would stay and record music with him. And so I did, and that led to me forming a band. And that's when I really found my passion was performing live. And I got to meet the local radio station. They got me in front of some big names, and they were like, "You got to go to Nashville." And so thankfully they took me, and I started to meet people here, and that ultimately led to my record deal.
Yeah, so I have a few songs that I'd like to talk to you about, if that's okay.
Sure.
Beer in a Bar. So that topped out at 37, is that correct, on Billboard charts?
Yes, it did.
So talk about that song. What was the creativity behind it? What was the vision?
Yeah, that song was actually probably one of the first songs I ever wrote when I came to Nashville. I was so fortunate to write with some amazing songwriters. One included on that was Michael Huffman, and he wrote a lot of songs for George Strait back in the 90s. So it definitely, I think we kind of drew from that 90s feel and just wanted to have like a good time, not so deep, kind of upbeat song.
Yeah, so I've taken a listen to your latest song, but before we get to that, what are some other songs besides Beer in a Bar that you feel like, I mean, they're all good, but what are some highlights that people should check out, like from the right after get done listening to this podcast, besides Kiss a Brunette, which is now available?
Yes.
What of your other discography? Is there some highlights that you have?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love my first album. I went through a really horrible time in my life when I was writing that, and so you'll find a lot of emotion in that. But I think the ones that I'm most proud of that were on that album were one, Pretend He's You, because I wrote that during the time I was like finding out my ex had cheated and we were ending our engagement, and people were like, you got to start dating. And I started to date somebody, and it was just like this whole weird experience. And I like drew in the moment from what I was going through to that song. And so
Yeah.
as a songwriter, I'm really proud of that. And then also a song on the album that I just absolutely love. And I was very fortunate. I got to write a song for my mom right before she passed away. And that one is called Call Her Mama. And it is exactly my mom to the T. I love performing that song live because I feel like so many people connect to it, whether they're daughters or sons, and it makes them think of their mom, or they're a mom and it makes them think of their babies.
Well, that is just touching, and I'm so sorry for your loss. But that's a wonderful tribute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
2020 was a rough year, and so to be able to release that album the year after, that's just where there's a lot of emotions that went into that, and so I'm very proud of that record.
yeah. So you briefly mentioned George Strait.
Yeah.
Is he one of your influences? Give me the list. Like, I'm sure you got quite a few, right? With your eclectic taste and music here.
Yeah, and yeah, no, I'm definitely all over the board. George Strait for sure. I mean, he is the epitome of classic country. He is the king of country. Like he is that whole style is really what I grew up on. I grew up on George Strait. I grew up on the very early Tim McGraw, Martina McBride, but also Johnny Cash and Merle
Hmm.
Haggard, Patsy Cline. But at the same time, I was a kid and I listened to everything. So I had a whole punk phase, and listened to a lot of Blink 182, Incubus.
Oh man, rock on, you know?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And I grew up with older siblings too, so they really introduced me. I mean, it was like their punk phase, and I was just
Right.
like sister tagging along, like wanting to be cool. And then my dad was a huge classic rock fan. He listened to everything from the Rolling Stones, CCR, the Allman Brothers. I
My dad's into the Rolling Stones. That's interesting.
Yeah,
You
oh
don't hear
yeah.
people don't mention them enough. They really don't.
I know. And 70s rock, man, there's so many times I'm like, I was born in the wrong era because I just wish I was down on Hollywood Boulevard, like going to all
Yeah.
those clubs back in the day, you
Yeah,
know?
like yeah, me as well. Like Blink 182, you know, I could go on. I'm more of like rock heavy, but
Okay.
all those bands, like yeah, brings back memories. Some 41, Stained. I mean, we could go on and on and on,
Oh
you
yeah.
know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So Northern California. So we'll talk about what was it like? What was the music scene up there? Is that obviously you said that's where you grew up on country, but what was the scene like up there? Did you start independently, like
Yeah.
there?
It wasn't, I mean, we didn't have a huge music scene. We had an amphitheater that a lot of like main acts would come through. That's where I went to my first concert. And then, it was just like the radio.
What's the city, if you don't mind?
It, well, so I grew up in a small town right outside, like 30 minutes from Sacramento.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, okay. I know Sacramento. Yeah, the Kings. I'm a basketball guy.
okay, yeah, the Kings. I went to a ton of Kings games back when they were like at Arco Arena kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Uh, Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we didn't have a huge music scene. But then definitely as I got older, I found a lot of a really awesome, like small live music venues that I got to play at, and that I just chased down for any gig I could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when did you first like start like understanding that you were actually getting a following? Like when did that whole breakthrough come out? What year was that? Like did you feel like, all right, I got something here. I can, Dead Horse and everything like that. What year was that?
So I actually just brought on Dead Horse, this year.
Okay, so it's a newer collaboration here.
Yeah, yeah, newer
Okay.
collaboration with, but they are great. I definitely started to really need, someone for PR. So they've been great. But I think that when it came to like, when did things really start to pick up?
Yeah.
It honestly was just like every step I took, like a door just kept opening. And it's still been that way. And it's been more of a just like slow journey and following and just like, okay, well, if the door is going to open, then I'll walk through it, kind of thing. And it's hard to measure success in the music business.
Yeah.
Um, I tell everybody, I mean, as long as I can support myself and do what I love and perform and go out and, bring new music to
So
people, that's what I want.
what's your like and obviously social media and that's a huge part in it. And it's probably nice to have Dead Horse take care of the other stuff, right? Where you just focus on your passion. That's got to be kind of nice, right? Lately.
Oh yeah, yeah. Social media is the death of me.
Well,
Like I
me
said,
too. This podcast is just a hobby, like,
yeah,
not just a hobby, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hate on anyone listening, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I have nickel and dime like ads, but I hear what you're saying.
yeah. No,
It's
totally.
it's the part that no one enjoys doing, really.
Yeah, yeah. No, definitely. And I'm just like I said, I feel like I was born in the wrong generation. Like TikTok, I don't even understand that. I'm like, what? Like, tell me what you want me to do
Yeah,
and
yeah, it's
create it.
funny because I have one for the podcast account.
Yeah,
And I literally will post like shit that I mean to get a message out, like promoting an episode or something, and it'll get like 50 views. But then I'll
yeah,
post like a tasting of the strawberry Coke, strawberry Dr.
yeah,
Pepper,
yeah.
just like because it just came out. I don't know if you've tried it yet, but
No.
no, I'll put like a little clip of that tasting, and it got like hundreds of views. I'm like, it's Dr. Pepper. So
Yeah.
I
No.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Um, you talk about some venues in California. What are some like your favorite places to play at?
Honestly, I don't think I have like a favorite. It's getting to the point now where it's like it's hard for me to make my way back. Like I'm
Are
playing
you
so
tour
many.
are you touring, like going on local tours or
Yeah, no, we actually just wrapped up our tour from this summer.
okay.
We toured with Chad Brock and we did a couple shows with Craig Morgan as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's get to the release that October 20th, right? That's when it released.
Yeah, that's when we released it. Yeah.
Kiss a Brunette.
Mhm.
Now, I have a few comments. They're all good, of course. That's a cool ass intro. It like tries to like teases you and then it just goes in, you know? But it's awesome.
Yeah.
Uh what like that was on purpose, obviously, right? You were just like, oh, I was trying to think of a cool intro.
Yeah, well, actually, so a lot of this like new songs that I've recorded, and this one included, we played live all summer. And so I brought this song to my band leader at the time. Well, he's still my band leader.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and I was like, hey, like I want to start performing these. Like, can we create music around that? And so he did, and it was just so badass that I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, we got to record this. And we started playing it live, and it's one of our show openers. And so it's a big, like, kind of cool moment. The band slowly walks on stage, and then that's when it like hits big and all the lights come on. Uh,
Mm.
and that honestly, this song is like kind of what inspired the rest of these songs and like the new direction I'm going, because like I said, my passion is performing live. And so all I wanted to do was be able to take our live performance, because we are high energy, we are rock, we are loud, we are big guitars,
Mm.
and I wanted to take what we are and be able to put that in our actual recordings. And so I ended up asking my band leader to become my producer, and so that's kind of where that idea for the song that we recorded, like that's where it started. It all started from a live show.
Okay, yeah. So I pulled a lyric, kind of
Okay.
not I don't think it's the entire lyric, but I pulled a, few words
Yeah.
and I'm gonna see. We're all just working with what God gave us. That is
Yeah.
one of the best lines I've heard in a song. Cause it's true. It's
Yeah.
true. You can't, God creates everybody and you just make the best of what you got, you know?
Totally.
Is that what's part of it? Is just like a kind of a song you go out with friends and you make the best, you have a good time?
Yeah, it's funny that that's the lyric you pulled, because that's what I feel like is the epitome of the song. You know, I feel like it can be very misconstrued. People can be like, "Oh my God, she hates blondes." And no, I don't hate blondes. This is very much of a just like the whole song is a metaphor of accepting who you are
Mm.
and just rocking it and not caring what society says is beautiful or what's the most in thing, doing you. And that's where that line kind of came from, is pulling that all together of, yeah, we're just working with what God gave us, all of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, every single person.
Yeah.
So, you got any funny stories on the road? Couple nights with crazy, drinks or people being crazy, anything?
Oh my gosh. I mean, we had such a good time on the road, honestly. Like I'm very, very lucky. My band is the most amazing band in the world, and we are seriously like a family. This was our second year touring together, and we just had so much fun. This year we got to be in a bus, and so we had some
Really?
stops.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. We had some stops along the way at some KOAs, which is now my favorite thing in the world.
So hold on. So Ashley, just be
Yeah.
honest. This became at times it was a glorified bar crawl. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Well, yeah. I
I'm
mean, when we
kidding. I'm
first
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
no, but I mean, that's yeah, that happens.
No, I know.
Um,
But
this year is really fun.
yeah. So that's basically there's like a tons of stories like that where you just come out and you have a good time and on to the next stop.
I'm trying to think of like the funniest story we
Just give me
have.
something. It doesn't have to
I know
be
our
like crazy.
okay, so this is pretty funny, and this is actually from 2 years ago, but like I never let him live it down, and it's still like to this day cracks me up. I'll just like randomly think of it. You know those stories you just randomly think of and start laughing?
Yeah, yeah. Trust me. Yeah.
That is this one. So one of my guitar players is from London, and but he's been in the States for a little bit. He's actually been in the States for a long time. I need to give him more credit. But
But
we
if you don't bust his chops to it, like who's gonna?
I
Yeah.
know. No, so this was our very first, like, we had to leave a venue to drive through the night to get to the next venue, and we didn't have a bus driver. So my band leader was like, he's a control freak and he loves to drive. And so, like, that's what he does. And finally, I was like, okay, this route, you're gonna have to, like, you can start, but you're gonna have to go to sleep. Somebody else is gonna have to drive. Like, you can't, there's no way. So he's like, okay, 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 fine. So finally, Aiden's like, I'll do it, I'll drive. And so I can't sleep. So I'm up and we are coming through Chicago at like 2 a.m. And Aaron was like taking the maps of no toll roads. And I was getting so annoyed because I was like, let's just get there, take the toll roads. I don't care. So Aiden's like, all right, we're taking the toll. And then he goes, like, it's Chicago at 2 a.m. Like this, no, there is nobody else on the road in this ginormous city. And we come up on this toll, and I'm like, it's fine. We have a fast pass. Like, you just go through. Like, don't stop. You just go through.
Right.
Well, he comes to the most screeching halt because the bar was down, and all you hear in the very back is thump. And it was Aaron who had just fallen asleep, hits the back of one of the seats. We are dead silent. I mean, like, we came like this close to hitting this, like ramming through.
Wow.
And we all stop. The thing slowly rises, and we just keep driving through. Oh, still no one says anything, and all of a sudden you hear from the back, Aaron goes, all right, pull over. I'm driving.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Abort mission.
Yeah. It was the most hilarious thing
Yeah,
ever.
that is funny. That is funny. So, you said you just finished tour. How many stops?
We had probably almost 50 stops this summer.
And where were the states? Like, what were the?
We were kind of all over. A lot of it was big Midwest, pull a lot of
Okay,
Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota. But then we also had some down south in Florida.
where in
I
Florida? Because that's where I am. I don't know if you're aware of that, but yeah, I'm in Florida.
No, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, yeah.
It probably was on my little email, and it's hard to read all the details. But we were in Orlando.
No way. That's not where I'm at now, but I'm in Pensacola. But that's where I grew up. I grew
Oh,
up in
very.
Orlando. Where? What was the venue?
We were at we were
If you
it
say
was
the barn, if you say the barn,
no,
don't. It
no, it
wasn't.
wasn't the barn. We
You know
were
where the
it was
barn is, right?
I don't know where the barn is. I've only been that was probably
So
my first time in Orlando. So
next time you go down there, Ashley, go to the barn in Sanford.
okay,
It's
the
a
barn is
yeah, it's like a big ass country venue. I think it's still there. It's huge. You should look into it. But anyways,
oh
what's the name of it?
we were there. It was at a venue right outside of Epcot. We were there with the Scleroderma Foundation who I team up with, and we were doing a private event for them.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, because I went to school there, and that's where I'm from. So
Hey,
yeah,
hey.
when you said Florida, I'm like, I gotta figure out where. Yeah, that's cool. So this gotta be tiring. But you got a bus. What were you doing before the bus? Were you just getting
Van life.
your
We were in a
van? You were just going old school.
Oh yeah, we
Uh,
and we still had a couple stops this last summer that we had to have a van because of the way logistics worked out, which was fine. I mean, we kind of upgraded this year. Like it was a bus and then a Sprinter van, so that was like it was more comfortable.
Was this
But
like was this like before the pandemic? Like some of this stuff?
no, so we started touring. So we toured this summer and we toured last summer. Last summer we were touring in a band or in a
Okay,
van.
so after the pandemic, yeah.
Yeah, after the pandemic, and then in 2021 I was on tour with T. Graham Brown.
Gotcha, gotcha. That's awesome. Um, all right, so this released October 20th. So what hate to be that person, like what's next, but
No, I
you
mean,
know,
that's exactly,
in that society though, some part of me, can I go on a diatribe here, Ashley? Well, it's my podcast, right? But
yeah.
I think that's part of the issue with society is that people just so on to the next. I just did it right there. I said, "Hey, it's great. This was out 2 weeks ago, but what's next?" Like I just
Yeah.
caught myself like just smell the roses, right? That's what part of this song is about, right? Just enjoy life. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it is. It is. And I think that
Even I
it's,
just caught myself.
yeah. Well, we're so used to it. It's instant gratification in our hands. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh, that was 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Like, what do you got coming out?
Well, and it's funny, like as an artist, because we're constantly dreaming
It was
of
more than
like,
two
okay,
weeks ago, but you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah, but I get it. Like I'm in the same boat, but we are working on a full project. So that's not a bad question because there will be more to come. And we'll see. We've got almost everything recorded and new imagery and all that stuff. So we'll see how we decide to release it.
Yeah. All right. Social media, where can people find you on there?
Yes, Ashley Barron Official on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. And then ashleybarronofficial.com for all my tour dates.
All right. So, Ashley, I'm gonna put you on the spot. One last question.
Okay, bring it.
Who is your, and I prefacing by saying your greatest musician of all time?
Okay, well, wow, now you really got me in a pickle. When you say musician,
Yeah, not band, not musician, like the person that's singing, obviously, just solo act.
oh, like the singer, an
The
artist.
singer, this the artist, yes.
Oh, okay, artist, greatest of all time. Oh my God, that's really hard. That's really hard. That's really hard. Well, I'll preface it by saying I think the greatest singer of all time, like in our generation,
Okay, yeah,
was
you can preface it. I was just throwing something out there, you know.
well, because I'm like I could go on. Like I mean, there's so many great singers. I freaking
Oh,
think
have
Frank.
at it. I think we still have a little time left. Have at
Yeah, well, I
it. Talk
think Frank
about.
Sinatra was a great singer. I think Patsy Cline was phenomenal. I think Adele is out of this world.
Patsy
I also
Cline. That's one of the goats for sure.
Yeah, and personal hot take, but lead singer of Paramore, Haley, is I
Haley
think she's
Williams. Wow, that's a hot take. That's like a super
yeah.
hot take.
I
Like,
also like you said you go towards more like heavy rock. I
um, when I was 16, I went to a Disturbed concert. So,
okay, okay.
yeah. Are you familiar
Uh,
with? You're familiar with Disturbed, right? Hard
yes.
rock. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well,
So,
I listen to a lot of screamo, and I really
really? Oh man, this
yeah.
podcast we could keep going. We're talking about screamo. Holy shit! Like Nirvana, like Ozzy, that type of shit.
Oh no, even harder than that. I love like right now one of my favorites is and the reason I got into screamo was Hailstorm. And Lindsay Hale, she actually lives in Nashville, but I would say she's also like freaking one of the most phenomenal
Mhm.
vocalists I've ever
So
heard.
what's your stalling? So what's your pick? You're one of the three? Is that what you're gonna
Okay,
say?
but then if I go to like my classic favorite, Carrie Underwood. I
All
mean,
right, there's the answer.
there you go. There's you can't even deny it. Her vocals are insane.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was fun.
All right, congrats on all your success, and everyone should check out Kiss a Brunette wherever you get your music.
Yes.
All right, see ya.
Bye.